I'm J. Scott Nicol from New Jersey, and I'm a fine artist. Well, I went to Rutgers University, so I started painting back in college, but I really only started painting these paintings 5 years ago. My passion was oil painting. I had the vision of being an artist, but after I graduated, I got involved in commercial art. And at age 50, I realized I hadn't fulfilled my passion of painting, so picked up the brush. Well, it was actually nerve-wracking. I was scared because I hadn't painted for close to 30 years. I hadn't touched a canvas or a brush. But the passion that I always had was to paint. And every time I'd go to a gallery, and I said, I think I really can paint like that. Once I turned 50, it was like a life-changing event. I'd accomplished a lot in my life, but I hadn't fulfilled the passions. I wanted to try to see if I could do it. I was always a photorealist, or wanted to be. I felt like the detail was still there. Well, maybe I can do this for other people too. And I found a couple of galleries interested in me and started painting for galleries. I'm a book lover, I read. My own library has probably about 500 books. The books that I have in my library really tell a story about me. What inspires me, what are my passions. And when you go to someone else's house, if you want to know about them, all you have to do is look at their library. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell a story about myself, and I felt books were the best way to do that. One of my favorite artists is Andy Warhol. He portrayed pop culture at his time. I always admired it. I wanted people to see the things that are important to me. Like if you go to a library, a lot of times the books are organized by subject. So that's what I do, pop art. I've done cities, New York, Miami. I've done several paintings based on years, and I wanted to do a decade. Within 10 years, there's a lot of things that happen, but I want to have things that are both political, art-related, sports-related. First chose John F. Kennedy because of the president he was and the effect he had on this country. I wanted to pick a sports figure, and Muhammad Ali was the one to use. His fight with Sonny Liston changed the boxing world forever. Try to pick movies. My favorite movie, and I think a seminal movie of the 60s, is The Graduate, with Dustin Hoffman. In the art movement, pop art was huge. Matter of fact, 1963 is when Andy Warhol released his soup can. It's a lot of research, and once I select the image that I want to have, then I need to put them compositionally together so that the eye looks at the painting and a viewer enjoys it. My background in art has given me the sensibility to be able to control color, light, text. I do the backgrounds of the books first, then I paint the photos, and the text quite often is sometimes the most complex. You gotta make that exact. If that's not exact, you can really tell. But these books I make up, they don't really exist. So for instance, JFK, I entitled the book The Camelot Years. I did a painting based on Chicago in my favorite movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I made a book, Ferris Bueller's Guide to Chicago. To date, I've probably made up about over 150 books. When I was a kid, I thought I'd like to be an author, and maybe one of the reasons why I like books so much. In each one of the paintings, I don't know if it's ego or what, I make sure my name is one of the authors of the book. Most books have some wear and tear. I'll add the rips. It's the little details like that that actually make it look like a book on a shelf. I did a painting on pop art. In it is a Roy Lichtenstein, 2,600 dots. It took over 7 hours. Many of the paintings have intense detail. The faces are the toughest. I've done Marilyn Monroe several times, Audrey Hepburn. Doing faces of people in popular culture is probably the toughest thing to do because everyone knows them. And if you don't do it right, you know in a heartbeat that you're wrong. That's why these things take up to about 200 hours to produce. Depending on how many days I work a week, it could take up to a month to produce one of these paintings. So it's neat to go into a gallery and see them again. I look at them and say, Jesus, I can't believe I painted that. And that's pretty nice. So that when someone says, hey, I saw that movie, or I saw that book, or I saw that thing that you did, it really makes me feel good because it takes a lot of time to do these paintings. So it's really fun. I can really express things about me that I enjoy. When people come and they look at the paintings or they buy the paintings, the same images that I chose somehow are important to them. I've had people come up to me and say, I was there at Woodstock, or I was there at the football game where Joe Namath promised to win the Super Bowl and he did. You get to see other people's lives and their vision through something that you've created.